Alright, hello. This is maybe our first video on here on Duelist Tips, and today I am doing a zombies deck profile. Basically, I've played this deck with my friends. I really enjoy it. It's fun. So to jump right into it, we play two copies of Doom King Ballardrock, and he is our boss monster. Basically, what he does is, well, first off, he's 2800 attack, and his effect is really good because if he's in the graveyard during the standby phase, which is yours or the opponent's, you can special summon him during that standby phase. Basically, if you can get him in the graveyard first turn, by the second turn, or even by your opponent's first turn, it's in the graveyard, then you summon it to your field. And he can negate and banish a monster from the field by chaining it off of another zombie monster's effect, which with Zombie World isn't that hard. So, it's pretty easy. And a good way to get stuff into the graveyard is Zombie, which we run 3 of. He is very important. So his effect is you can target one face-up monster on the field, discard a card. If you do, increase the target's level by 1, so you can just target him, doesn't really matter. You're just going to keep track of that for summoning and stuff, but target one face-up monster on the field. Monsters you control cannot attack for the rest of this turn, except zombie monsters, which is everything in this deck, so that's good. You can send one zombie monster from your deck to your graveyard, and if you do, increase the target's level by 1, and you can only use each effect of Zombie once per turn. So since it says Zombie, you can't have 3 of these out and use his effect 3 times. You can use one effect of Zombie, even if you have all 3 out or 2, it doesn't matter. You can only use the effect of him once per turn. But it's still really good, and it's basically a forced burial for zombies. And we run 3 copies of Shirianui Solitaire, and he basically just summons out Zombie, which because he's a tuner with 0 defense. That's you contribute. So you can summon this card, tribute him, basically sending him to the graveyard and taking Zombie out of your deck first turn if you get him. He's basically just another Zombie. Just think of him like that. He just gets your Zombie out of your deck and onto the field. So you can start sending cards you need to the graveyard. And then Gozuki you play 3 copies of, and he's basically pretty similar to Zombie. He sends during your main phase. You can send one zombie monster from your deck to your graveyard. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can banish one zombie monster from your graveyard except Gozuki. Special summon one zombie monster from your hand, and you can only use each effects of Gozuki once per turn. So he's like Zombie. But basically what's nice is you could use one Zombie and one Gozuki's effects per turn, basically sending 2 cards to the graveyard that turn. So it's pretty good. Also, discarding a card for Zombie can help you because it can, if you clog and get Doom King in your hand, you can discard him to the graveyard to activate the effect and start something else from the deck. And then Mizuki we use to, we run 2 copies of Mizuki. And the reason he's good is when you banish this card from your graveyard, target one zombie monster in the graveyard and special summon it. So that can be Doom King right away. And then we run 2 Necroworld Banshee, which is very important because when you banish this card, actually, you can activate a Zombie World from your deck or your hand and basically put it right in your field spell zone. So that's amazing right there. And when this is on the field, Necroworld Banshee, your Zombie World can be targeted or destroyed by card effects. That's even better. It's pretty amazing. And then we use 2 Glow Up Bloom, which I think is an underrated card, honestly. But if this card's sent to the graveyard, you can banish this card from your graveyard, add 1 level 5 or higher zombie monster from your deck to your hand. Or if Zombie World is on the field, you can special summon it from your deck instead. So, in either case, you can't special summon the rest of this turn except zombie monsters. So, again, it doesn't really affect you if Zombie World's on the field. Or, though everything in this deck is a zombie except 1 card, but it's a hand trap, so it doesn't really matter. And then, another card we can use to get stuff out of our hand and into the graveyard in case we clog is Zombie Master. You can send 1 monster from your hand to the graveyard and then target 1 level 4 lower zombie monster in either graveyard and special summon that target to your field. This monster must be face up on the field to activate this effect. And this is good, say you get like a Mizuki in your first hand, but you want to have 2 monsters. You can summon Zombie Master, discard Gozuki to the graveyard, or send it to the graveyard with his effect, or Zombie Master's effect, and then special summon this, and then take something else from your deck, send it to the graveyard. Bam. It's pretty good. And then for the hand trap is Marionic Might. It's pretty good. Its effect is you can discard this card to the graveyard, target one fiend or zombie monster your opponent controls, and take control of it till the end phase. And with Zombie World on the field, that's everything. Everything's a zombie. So you can just basically take control of their monster on either turn. Actually, I'm pretty sure. And take it to your field to that end phase of that turn. So you can either take their monster to hit them harder, or I'm assuming you can take it just so they can't attack you at that turn if you're gonna die, but you want to survive the turn. So there's that. But that pretty much wraps it up for the monsters. And then we're going to move on to the spells and traps. So for the main spell, of course you probably guessed it, is Zombie World. And we run 3 copies of that just because it's just amazing. And its effect is all monsters on the field and in the graveyards become zombie monsters. Neither players contribute monsters except zombie monsters. So the hand and the deck and the banished and the extra deck are not affected by Zombie World. So that means your opponent can't tribute summon anything out of their hand because it's not a zombie. No one in the field is. That's pretty good. It kind of blocks fusion summons, synchros, links, all that stuff. Unless it's, only specific, like it says, you need 2 machine monsters to summon this, or 2 cybers. You can't do that. But if it just says 2 effect monsters, I can still summon that monster. But it helps throw a wrench in their plans, And then to help get Zombie World out just a little bit faster, we run 2 terraforming. Terraforming is limited to 2, so keep that in mind. And then basically it just searches Zombie World from your deck and adds it to your hand, which is amazing. And then for another card that kind of helps you steal monsters, Zombie Necronize is really good. The only reason we're running 2 is just to see it more often. You can't play 2 at the same time, so there's that. But basically, the level 5 or higher zombie monsters on the field, target one monster your opponent controls, and take control of it till the end phase. During your main phase, if this card is in your graveyard, you can shuffle one of your banished monsters into the deck. And if you do, set this card, and I can shuffle one of my banished zombie monsters, back into the deck. And if you do, set this card, but banish it when it leaves the field. So, basically, if you banish one of your shuffle one of your banished monsters back into your deck, you get this right back. You can just take it right back out of the graveyard and set it, and use it again. So that's pretty good. It's actually I honestly think it's a little broken, but I ain't complaining. It's such a good card, and it's just worth it to run 2. And then you can only use one Zombie Necronize effect per turn, and only once that turn. So you can't set it and use it again that turn. You can't do that. So there's that. And then we run 2 Book of Life. And this card, the reason you don't want to run 3 is because 2 or 3 of these in your first hand will just completely clog you, and it will not help. Basically, you target a zombie monster in your graveyard, which is everything in our deck, and you can, and one monster in your opponent's graveyard, and special summon the zombie monster from your graveyard, and banish the second one from theirs. That's really good. Just kind of helps you, more special summoning, basically. Helps you get monsters on the board faster. Always good. And then we run 2 MST. The reason this is good is you can just pop one spell or trap card in the field. Doesn't really matter what position, destroys it. So it's good for field spells, set cards, doesn't really matter. It's really good though. You can substitute it for other things if you want. It's not really a must, but I like it. It's pretty nice to get rid of annoying back rows. And then we run 1 Burial from a different dimension, which just sends up to 3 banished monsters to the graveyard. So that's nice. That can help us with our effects, like, so you can send Glow Up Bulbs back if you still have a Doom King in your deck to get him out, or something like that. That's always good. And then we run 1 Foolish Burial, which is limited to 1 per deck. And that just sends one monster from your deck to the graveyard. I mean, why not, if you can? Most of these monsters have graveyard and banish effects that activate in the graveyard anyway. And our Synchro that we run also has effects that rely on graveyard, so it's pretty good. We run a Monster Reborn as well. Not really, you don't have to use it if you don't want to. Mine's an older copy. It's just kind of nice to grab a card from your graveyard or your opponent's, just so like if you know they need that card, you can grab it or get your Doom King back. Pretty nice. Then we run an Everlying Underworld Cannon, which once per each player's turn, when a zombie type monster is special summoned to your side of the field, inflict 800 direct damage to your opponent. This is a continuous spell, so when you activate it, they have to destroy it. It doesn't run out until they destroy it, so it's pretty nice. And that is it for the spell, so we're going to move on to the traps now. And we run 2 trap stuns, which just negate all their trap cards during this turn. And then we run a Dimensional Prison, which is when the opponent's monster declares an attack, target the attacking monster and banish it. Pretty good, and it can kind of come in handy for Draining Shield, because you can banish their monster, and then they try to attack you again, say with Cyber Twin Dragon, which is, it can attack twice, that's its effect. You can gain the life point. So if it's a Cyber Twin Dragon, its boosted attack, it will be at 5,600 attack. You negate their attack and gain that in life points. So that's just, I mean, you don't have to run it, but I love it. And that's it. It's pretty good. And that will be it for the spells and traps. And now for the extra deck, we run, just because we can, three copies of Red Eye Zombie Necro Dragon. Basically, you need one tuner and one non-tuner monster that equal up to his level. So that's a Unazombie and a Mizuki. D equals 7, right? And the good thing about him is he gains 100 attack and defense for each zombie monster on the field and in the graveyards. That's for both fields. That's why Zombie World is so good, because all your opponent's monsters and graveyard monsters fill into his attack. And when a lot of zombie monsters are destroyed by battle, you can special summon one zombie monster from either graveyard to my field, to your field. And you can only use his effect once per turn, just like Unizombie. And then we run a Zombie Stein, which is, again, you don't need this one. I'd say you would want Red Eye Zombie Necro Dragon more. That's like our main extra deck card we'll be using. But it's just 2 level 8 Dark Monsters, so that's your Doom Kings, which you can get out fairly easy. I've gotten 2 of them out within the first turn, or 2 even. He has to be XE summoned. You can't special summon him from other ways, but he does have a base attack of 4,500, and he can negate effects, so he's pretty good. I mean, why not? And then I also run a Lancelot, Dark Knight of the Underworld. Again, he requires 2 Doom Kings, so these are both situational, like whichever one works better. Cool thing about Lancelot is he can attack directly, and has an XE's material attached to it, and you have to tribute 2, so he'll have 2 starting. So at least for a little bit, you can do 2,000 direct damage here and there. So that's pretty nice. The other cool thing about it is target one face-up monster your opponent controls and destroy it. Once per turn during either player's turn, when a spell or trap card is activated, when a monster's effect is activated, detach one material from this card and negate it. So basically, you can destroy a monster they control, negate an effect, and attack direct with this guy. He is a beast, and I love it. It's really worth ordering. I think this card was $1.40 on Amazon, and Zombie Sign was like 80 cents. And, they're just amazing cards for this deck. And then just for generic XEs, I run a Utopia, just in case I really need to get a level 4s. I have a lot of them in this deck, so if you really need him just for that extra little attack boost, which you normally don't, I've actually only used Utopia once with this deck. It's not really a must, but he's there if you need him. And then for really, all else I really run is 2 Link Rebos and just a level 1 monster. So if you have an extra glow up bulb, you can use him and tribute for this guy. And he basically, when a monster declares an attack, your opponent's monster, you can tribute this card and change that monster's attack to 0 until the end of this turn. If this card's in your graveyard, you can tribute 1 level 1 monster and summon this card. You can only use this effect of Link Rebo once per turn. And that pretty much wraps up the profile. And if you guys have any questions, let me know in the comments. I'll explain them best I can. If you have questions on rulings, I've been looking at most of them, so I know a lot of the rulings for this deck. And it's really fun, really solid. You might even be able to win some locals with it, have some fun with your friends. It's pretty good. Let me know what you think about this deck profile in the comments below. And I'll see you guys next time. Don't forget to subscribe and share this video with your friends. And definitely let me know if it helped you.
Thanks for tuning in. See you guys next time.